So Streetcar Takeover Bowling Green is about a week away, and I decided to come outside and start getting the car prepped for that race. So I got a couple of things on the agenda today to get done with the car. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bias ply Hoosiers off, and I'm going to put my drag radials back on. After that, I've got to check my oil filter. Or I'm sorry, not my oil filter. I got to check my fuel filter. I haven't checked in a while. I got to make sure that it's clean because I'm running E85. It's probably been 7 or 8 months since I checked it. So it's gonna be a good idea to check it, make sure it's not clogged up. I also need to put the parachute back on the car since I'm going to be running quarter mile. And Bowling Green is a quarter mile track, so I'm probably going to be going fast enough to need it. I'm hoping to go at least 155 in the quarter mile. That's my plan. So get the parachute put back on. I have to mess with the tune a little bit. I've been running the car on no prep the past 2 times I went out, so the car's set up a little different. So I get my tune back to a prep track tune on the drag radials, and the car should be ready to roll. So I'm going to bring you guys along, and we're going to change and check all this stuff together. Get the jack under the car, get the rear end jacked up. Put some jack stands under the car, safety first, right? I know I've been reminded at least once in the comments about laying under the car with just the jack, which I normally don't do. I normally do have a set of jack stands under the car, but you guys call me slipping, put me in check, so I'll be safe this time. I guess while I'm right here putting this tire on, I know a lot of my viewers probably know a lot about drag racing. I'm probably, preaching to the choir, so to speak, about this subject, but for guys that maybe don't know as much, you might be asking why I change between a bias ply slick and a drag radial. Well, the reason is that a bias ply slick is very forgiving on a bad surface. So if the track isn't prepped very good, or it's a no prep race, the slick is a lot more forgiving if it spins. As a matter of fact, the slick actually likes to be spun to an extent. If you watch some of my videos, you see the slick spins almost as soon as I let off the trans brake. And the reason why is you want wheel speed with a slick is because if the slick dead hooks, because it's so soft, the sidewall is so soft on the slick, it'll distort and you'll go into tire shake. If you haven't ever experienced tire shake, it's pretty violent. It's violent enough to shake the vents out of the dash. So you don't want that. You want some wheel speed with the slicks, but if you spin them too fast, you can blow them off too, and you will lose traction. But the good thing about the slick is when it spins, you can pedal the car really quick, and the slick will regain traction. the thing about a drag radial is a drag radial has a really hard sidewall. It's a really hard tire. When a drag radial spins, there's no way it's not going to recover. You have to completely let off the gas, let the tire regain traction, and then get back into it. And at that point in time, you probably already lost the race. So that's the reason why you guys see me switching between a drag radial and a slick a lot. I've been much faster on drag radials just because they 60 foot better and they have less rolling resistance. But for a no prep race or on a marginal track, I'll put the slick on every time. So we'll move over to the other side. I know this is probably boring, but we'll move over. I'll time lapse me doing the other side, and then we'll move on to the next part. Okay, so the drag rails are on. So the next thing I need to do is put on the parachute. And just like that, the parachute's on. Super easy to install and remove. I love this parachute mount. This little thing right here, the release cable, is kind of a pain in the butt to get through this lanyard right here. That's probably the hardest part of putting this parachute on the car, besides repacking this thing, is getting that through the lanyard. So the parachute's on, ready to rock for the quarter mile this weekend. So next thing I got to do is get under the car and pull the fuel filter off so we can check it and make sure it's clean. All right, so it's kind of hard to see under here, but there's the fuel filter. It's a Summit brand 100 micron fuel filter, dash 8 feed and dash 8 on both ends of the fuel filter. So I'm gonna get this thing pulled out and get it taken apart on the table and look at it and make sure it's clean. Alright y'all, so now that I've successfully covered an E85, I've got the fuel filter out and I'm gonna pull it apart and see how the filter looks inside of it. I haven't checked this filter in like 8 months, and one of my friends just posted a picture of a clogged up fuel filter from pump E85, so figured it was a good time for me to check mine. It looks fine, honestly. You guys can tell it's a stainless steel element. You need that for like any kind of alcohol, like E85. These little filters are pretty nice though, even it being a Summit brand, which is Chinese brand. It's not a bad little gig, little setup for the price. I think these are like 60 bucks. Whereas like an Aeromotive is like 130 or something like that. It looks clean to me. Nothing looks out of the ordinary with it. I think we're good. See, rub my fingers on it. Doesn't look nasty. Pops right back on there like that. Hey guys, so after I turned the camera off, I decided I wanted to pull this filter out and look at it one more time close. And this thing is actually pretty dirty. So I've got some carb cleaner right here. And I got the filter, and you can see right here I've already sprayed some carb cleaner, and it started to come clean and look yellow again. I didn't realize that this used to be yellow, but you can look right here and look how dark it is. So this thing is probably clogged up a little bit. So I'm gonna spray it down good with this carb cleaner, and I'll show you guys the final product when I'm done. Alright, hey guys, so after successfully destroying my hands with the E85 and carb cleaner, I got the filter pretty clean. You can see a huge difference from how the filter looked before. It was actually black in color before, and now it looks like the yellow color that it came from that it looked like when it was brand new. I think I'm going to look on Summit tonight and see if I can find another one of these to keep as a spare. Because I'm pretty sure that you can buy just the elements for these filters. But I'm going to get this thing reinstalled. And that just goes to show you that, on a high performance engine, especially one that's running E85 and pump E85 at that, you really need to pull these filters out and check them. I'm glad I did that, and I'm glad I didn't neglect that and ended up having issues this weekend whenever I'm really putting the fuel system under a high demand. So we'll get this put back in and go from there. Alright, so now the car is down on the ground, and I bet you guys were going to say something, but I do it. I'm going to torque the wheel studs. I'm going to torque them to 130 foot-pounds because that's what Strange calls for. So I'll get that done, and then we'll get in the car and we'll set the boost controller up. That's where all the top secret stuff happens. Alright, I'm going to get these things torqued real fast because my light's about to die. I'm in the way.
Your knee was so in the way.
Oh, my impact must have put them close to 130 already. They're probably over 130 actually. That's fine though. Good to go. 130. Alright, I'm in the car, and this is where all the top secret stuff happens. Are you guys ready? I'm about to give you all my secrets. Here it goes. Alright, so I got the boost leash pulled up right here, if I get the camera to focus on it. If I go in here, not there, right here, launch PSI. If I'm on a good track, which it should be this weekend, I'm going to put my launch PSI on 10. That doesn't mean the car's going to leave on 10 PSI. That means that the boost leash will put 10 pounds of CO2 on top of the wastegate to help keep it shut while I'm trying to build boost. So that's where I like to set that. I generally like to leave on like 12 to 13 pounds of boost and then ramp up as fast as I can from there. So that's set. How many stages do I want? We're going to do one stage for now. I know this stuff's super top secret. Here we go. Alright, the rate is how fast the leash brings the boost in. Or I should say how fast the boost leash puts CO2 on top of the gate. A 10 rate's pretty fast with CO2. I screwed that up. Let me go back. Alright, so then I move down to the PSI. This is how much CO2 I want to put on top of the wastegate. So I know that 14 pounds is about 24 pounds of boost, because it makes about 10 to 12 on the wastegate spring, so then you add 14 on top of the gate and it'll generally make about 24 pounds of boost. My first pass out there, I kind of want to run a little bit higher boost, so I'm going to put 20 on top of the gate. That should make about 26 to 28 pounds, and at a rate of 10 it should come in fairly quick. I could bring it in a little bit slower if I want, but I'm just going to go swinging for the fences on the first pass. Probably going to blow the tires off, but we'll see. And the cool thing about this boost leash is that you could do a test. So I'm going to reach back here and turn the CO2 on. CO2's on. Reach over here and I hit this little test button on the side. My finger's over here to the right. And the boost leash will go through its through the test. Bam. That's how fast it brings on the boost. I push that button again and it'll turn it off. And I can go down here and I can look at my boost curve, how fast it put the CO2 on. So it had the full 20 pounds of CO2 on in 0.6 seconds. So I can slow that down a little bit if I want. So I go back and I change my rate. I can change the rate just, let's say 5. Let's see how fast it goes. We'll do the test. There we go, 20 PSI. Let's see how fast it came in that time. So it went from 0 all the way to 20 PSI. I actually touched 21 for a second. in 1 second. So that just goes to show you how the rates change the boost ramp. That would be a much less aggressive boost ramp right there. I might actually try that one out on the first pass. We'll see. But there you have it, top secret stuff. Literally 1 stage on the boost controller. The secret is in timing control, but I'm not going to do that unless the car spins. So everything's ready. I'm going to turn the key over and start the car and make sure that the fuel pump's working. So I'll keep you guys on for that. There we go. The fuel pump cycle. See if she starts up. I love the way this thing sounds when it's cold. Alright, so the car's ready. I took you guys through the few small changes that I had to make to the car. I'm going to try to keep you guys in the loop of everything that's going on this week and this weekend. I'm going to try and run the street racer class at Streetcar Takeover. Probably going to get my butt beat, but it's going to be fun. So I'll catch up to you guys the closer we get to the event. That's all I got for now. I'll talk to you later.